Good afternoon. It's March 26th, Thursday. My name's Michael Herbert. I'm the town manager here. This is take two, I should say, of today's update. Apparently we had a little glitch on the first one and could potentially have cut off everything that you really wanted to hear. So we're going to try this again. I think I started off the last one and I'll start off this one again. By just saying that COVID-19, it's not just a health crisis, it's also turning into a financial crisis. The jobless claims for those that were watching today soared. 3.3 million Americans filed for unemployment, broke all kinds of records. Many of you that had jobs a week ago, you don't have jobs now. And those of you that have jobs today are probably wondering if you're going to have jobs tomorrow or even next week. And so while there are significant relief packages that are being debated at the state and federal level, a lot of times, even after those get passed, it takes a while for them to work through and for that relief actually to get to taxpayers. So we need to look at what we can do here in Ashland to ease some of the burden on some of our residents. So that brings me to the two that are really on people's minds right now. First of all is the motor vehicle excise tax. That's due March 30th. What I am going to do is I'm going to essentially extend the deadline by a month. So if you do not have the ability to pay your excise taxes by March 30th, no late charges or interest or any fees will be charged if you make your payment by May 1st. So again, that extends the payment date by a little over 1 month. And then the second one is the fourth quarter real estate tax bill. I'm going to ask the select board at their meeting next week to extend the deadline for payment of fourth quarter real estate taxes to June 1st, 2020. Now, an important caveat is that that is dependent upon legislation that is currently being debated at the State House. I do think it will pass, but it has not passed yet or been signed into law, I should say. So that's going to be one step that needs to happen before this can actually go into effect. But I will ask the select board to extend that date to June 1st. And also tangential to that is for real estate abatements, so the senior tax exemptions, things of that nature that are due on April 1st. I will also ask them to extend that date to June 1st as well. Again, that's going to be dependent upon the same legislation that I mentioned earlier. And in addition to these measures, there's a lot of nonprofits and there's a lot of different organizations in town that want to provide assistance. So I'm hoping to assemble a partnership between the public, private, and the nonprofit sectors so they can provide substantial and yet coordinated relief for Ashland residents. So this is relief for mortgage and rent payments, car payments, food, things of that nature. Again, it's important that it's coordinated. A lot of times in situations like this, organizations get together and a lot of times they develop programs in a silo. And so we're trying to avoid that as much as possible. So I hope to have more news about that in the future. This is also a good moment for me to thank all of you who have volunteered already and who've donated both your time and money or food to help those most in need. The Restaurant and Resident Relief Fund, it's been a big hit. I'm sure many of you have read about it, hopefully have participated in it, and I really want to thank the Ashland Emergency Fund and the participating restaurants for being involved in that great program. Also, over the weekend, we had a huge donation of food organized by A Simple Gesture. Thank you very much to that organization and all the residents who donated food. And we actually have a big order of food coming in from the Boston Food Bank that's coming in shortly. It brings me to a point I want to make, which is one of the things that really makes Ashland the community that it is that when crisis and tragedy hits, we get together, we rally together, and we in turn hit back. However, this is a crisis that's really unlike anything we have ever seen. It is truly exceptional. And one of the unique things and one of the more, I think, insidious things about this crisis is that the thing that brings us closer together, that ability to kind of rally together and go out and help your neighbor, we're actually trying to prevent that from happening so we can stop the spread of disease. So if you're reaching out to town officials and you're offering to volunteer to go door to door to help out, deliver things, deliver food, deliver materials, and you get a somewhat tepid response from town officials, please understand we appreciate it just as much. It's just we're trying to stop the spread of this disease so we can actually get out of this situation a lot more quickly than otherwise. Again, the best way that you can help right now is to donate to the Ashland Emergency Fund. It's easy to donate, and 100% of the proceeds go directly to Ashland residents in need. So moving on to COVID-19 and the health situation, we are still at 4 cases. That number has not changed. We will be updating the website each day at 4 p.m. with any new cases. Also, we're going to break down the cases by age. Many of you have been asking for more information, more identifying information on those cases. Unfortunately, that's something that we just can't provide. There are privacy laws that we have to adhere to. It's not that we don't necessarily want to give that out, but we can't. So if you're getting negative reactions or negative responses to those questions, that's why. I also say we're ramping up our public health nursing capacity. So we've enlisted the assistance of our public health nurses in the schools, as well as we're starting to put on call 23 epidemiologists that the state has recently put into action to help monitor this crisis and monitor the cases. And again, the whole point is to try to stop the spread so it doesn't get any worse or the curve doesn't get any worse than it's already headed. And then I also want to talk about the fact that we're still conducting town business. A lot of our focus and a lot of our energy right now is on COVID-19, understandably so, and rightfully so. But we're still carrying on the day-to-day functions of town government. The select board will be meeting next week. We've got a number of agenda items that will be posted shortly, but I think probably the most eye-popping, or eye-catching, I should say, will be the move of the town election, which is May 19th, and then also town meeting, which is scheduled for May 6th. We will also talk about the FY20 budget, not the FY21 budget that starts July 1st, but the fiscal year budget that we're currently in. Just like these fiscal impacts are being felt throughout homes and residents across the country in Ashland, we're also seeing it in municipalities in Ashland Town government as well. Nothing we can't handle, but it's something that we're keeping an eye on and monitoring, and we're just, again, trying to stay ahead of it before it gets a little bit out of control. Again, I don't want to panic anybody. The whole point is to maintain services the way that we're maintaining services, and I don't see any kind of issue with that in the future, but it is something that we're monitoring because the situation and the landscape has changed quite a bit. The tri-board, so that's a meeting of our school committee, select board, and our finance committee, met last week, or actually earlier this week. The days start melding together, as you all know. Met about the 2 building projects being talked about in town or being proposed, one being the public safety building and the other being the Mendez School project. So we had a great meeting, had conducted all through Zoom. We had 40 participants on there. It was interesting. It went very, very well. We had very good presentations done by the architects of both projects, as well as some of the leadership from each of those committees. And we're looking forward to continuing that conversation as well. So things are still moving forward. And to end it, I think in this update, at least on a bright note, there's been a lot of creativity and a lot of innovation surrounding what we can do at home with our families while we're practicing this social distancing or physical distancing. And what we're hoping to do each Friday is send out a compilation of those activities, ones that are developed in-house, but then also other activities that communities or other programs have put together that we may want to try here in town with yourself or with your family. And hopefully you'll find that useful. Hopefully you'll be able to enjoy a little bit of family time during this stressful situation. We know it's stressful for everybody involved. In case you didn't see the governor's announcement or have not seen the governor's announcement, school has been closed. The extension of the school closure has gone on to May 6th, May 4th. And so it's the right decision, but again, I'm feeling for a lot of kids and the parents. I know certainly my wife and daughter are testing the limits of their relationship right now. I'm sure I'm not the only one in this capacity. Again, I'm hoping you all are managing well, and hopefully we can provide some resources to help you manage that a little bit better. And last but not least, we have seen last couple of days, we've seen an increase in some pretty bad judgment and bad behavior by some people in and around town. Led to 2 accidents that could have cost 3 people their lives. Fortunately, they did not. I know everybody's getting stir crazy. I know the weather's getting nicer, and you've been stuck inside, but just use common sense and use your best judgment. We don't need to be responding to things that really shouldn't have happened in the first place. So again, think of yourself, think of your family, think of your loved ones, think of your neighbors, think of our first responders, and please think before you act. So that's it for this Thursday update, again, March 26th. I hope you all are safe and healthy, and if you need anything related to coronavirus, again, the COVID-19 hotline is 508-532-7900, or you can email us at covid19@ashlandmass.com, or you can go to the coronavirus webpage. You'll see the link to that on our homepage. So that contains a lot of information as well. So I hope you're doing well, and I will see you during the next update.